Woman wasn't expecting she would be having a riding buddy. This malicious compliance takes place in the Czech Republic, where many people are often really grumpy. My GF, 30, and I, M 21, were waiting for a bus ride to go to her hometown for a wedding. As you'd expect, we had 3 bags and they were packed to the point where zipping the bag required you to sit on it. Especially her bag, as she was one of the bridesmaids. Before we boarded the bus, we had to wait for the passengers who had paid beforehand to reserve seats. My GF and I had not prepaid. We were in somewhat of a line which allowed for the passengers who reserved seats to pass. The line for unreserved seat passengers was essentially respected. Except by this woman. She arrived when the line was somewhat being formed and decided to stand next to us. As our turn to board was coming up, she quickly scooted in front of my GF and looked forward as if she was completely oblivious to the fact she had done something that was traditionally frowned upon. My GF was obviously quite annoyed and started saying out loud in English. Much of the older generation in this country doesn't understand English very well. Well, that's a bitchy thing to do. Can you believe this woman? I was calm as I had counted how many people had already boarded the bus, and there was still a good chance we'd find seats together in the unreserved rows. So I didn't think it called for any type of confrontation. Still, I had calmly responded, "Let's be honest. We can't be surprised when bitches do bitchy things." Looking back, it was unnecessary, but I was also tired and the bags were heavy, so I was a bit impatient. We finally sit down and my GF chose to sit in the 2 free seats behind her. I would have chosen the seats in front of her and then just slowly reclined my seat back every few minutes so that she wouldn't have noticed my little act of revenge. But this ended up being better. It's important to note that the row the woman chose was the last row with an overhead shelf for bags. The shelf was a little longer in the front, so every person essentially had space for their bag if they moved their bags a little towards the front of the bus. It's also important to mention that the shelf was essentially empty and I could have placed another 5 bags next to ours if I wanted to. We finally hit the road and the woman is talking on the phone. Loudly, I might add. Saying how she's going to visit her grandson, who is so sweet, but that he plays metal music in his room and she can't stand the sound of it. After she finishes the call, she takes off her windbreaker and plans to put it above her seat. She finally sees that my bag is directly above her seat, and instead of moving her jacket 35 centimeters to the right on the shelf or setting her jacket on the empty seat beside her, she decides to confront me in an entitled tone. "Excuse me, young man, but I can't put my jacket anywhere because your fat bag is in the way." I was bored, so decided to act like this was a tragedy. "Oh no, what will we do? Maybe if we put our heads together we can find a solution." Her face turned from shock to old communist grandma rage. She yelled back, "Well, don't you know that the shelf space is for the person directly below the seat?" Quote, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I truly didn't know that was like an unspoken rule. So the space above your seat is only for you and the potential passenger next to you?" I say, truly acting sorry and embarrassed. Yes it is. So please move it, your spot," she says, acting victorious. Of course. Right away. I quickly get up and take my GF's bag off the shelf and place it on the seat where I was sitting next to her. I keep my bag in the exact same spot and plop myself right next to old woman with a grin. The look on her face was absolutely priceless as she was trying to understand what just happened. I smile at her, take my headphones out and play some death metal way too loud so that she can definitively hear it. I might have hearing loss. I don't even like death metal. But it was definitively worth it knowing she was annoyed the whole time. My GF was sad I didn't sit next to her for the bus ride, but she ultimately agreed it was the best way to get back at her. P.S. This is my first post on Reddit, so I do hope I chose the right place to put it. This was a fun read. Would definitely fit in at the Petty Revenge subreddit too. Perfectly executed petty revenge. You nailed the spirit of the sub. The next time that someone starts off a confrontation with, "Excuse me," consider replying, "I would." But there is no excuse for your poor behavior. I'm surprised you didn't have a nice long conversation with your GF about heading to Prague. To the Sex Machine Museum. You did well, little grasshopper. Open mouth smile. I'm thinking it was a shame you didn't have a portable speaker instead of headphones. That would have been epic. It's pretty good the way it is. Though. Thanks. Nice job with English. I'm monolingual by lack of ability rather than choice. So I'm impressed. Line skipping is infuriating and I appreciate the petty compliance. Hilarious and harmless. Lol, that's funny. Also, she doesn't need to be a bitch. Rude much. Hope the wedding was good and her family probably don't like her much if she does this a lot. Definitely the right place. I might have countered with, traditionally people go to the back of the line and not the front. But I like your response better. This is dripping with delicious pettiness and I fell a little bit in love with you. Bless you and the bus you rode in on. When you said the "unspoken rule" line, I thought for sure you were about to hit her with a, "You know what else is an unspoken rule?" I was not expecting what you did. Well done. Malicious compliance with a dose of petty revenge and heavy metal music. Score. Rolling on the floor laughing. Lol. That made me laugh. You complied perfectly. 10 stars glowing star. Well done. I commend your malicious compliance. Definitely. Boom fire. Haha. I would have added something about it also being an unspoken rule with the line too. But as demonstrated by her earlier, people tend to pick and choose, don't always follow others' unspoken rules. Also, you probably still could have talked to your girlfriend from the seat you moved to. As revenge for Lloyd phone talk. But listening to music also works. Good job, thumbs up. Absolutely petty. Love it. Your hearing is no joke, my man. Take care of your ears because tinnitus suck big time. I can't even enjoy peace and quiet not because of it.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.